afternoon, Khalil.
Good afternoon.
It's Chisholm. Okay, so I'm about to start our session with giving you the informed consent for being my client. Thank you for being willing and participating in helping me with this venture as I try to gain helping skills to help, people as a counselor. So, dear friend, I'm a student in counseling skills at Clark Atlanta University. I am required to practice counseling skills with volunteers, and I appreciate your willingness to work with me on my class assignments. You may choose to talk about topics of real concern to you, or you may prefer to role play an issue that does not necessarily relate to you. Please let me know before we start whether you're talking about yourself or role playing.
I was talking about myself.
Okay, thank you. And to keep moving on, so here are some things that may be important to you or important dimensions of our work together. And the first thing is confidentiality. As a student, I cannot offer any legal form of confidentiality. However, anything you say to me in this practice session will remain confidential, except for certain exceptions that state law requires me to report. Even as a student, I must report a serious issue of harm to yourself, or indications of child abuse or neglect, or any other special conditions as required by our state of Georgia. I will be recording this session for my personal listening and learning. If you become uncomfortable with it at any time, we can turn off the recording device. This recording may be shared with my professor, Dr. Leonisa Johnson, who can be reached at 404-880-8517, and or students in my class. You'll find that the recording does not affect our practice session as long as you and I are both comfortable with it. And without any additional permission, recordings and any written transcripts are destroyed at the end of this course, which I guess luckily for us is in like a few weeks. So I am an inexperienced counselor. I cannot do formal counseling. This practice session helps me learn helping skills, and I will need feedback from you about my performance and what you found helpful. I may give you a form that asks you to evaluate how helpful I was. So are you finding comfortable with everything I stated so far?
Yes.
Perfect. And I guess at this point, how are you doing today, Kalia?
Doing pretty well. I just came back from a date with my mom. We went to the movies and saw Wicked together.
You said you saw what movie?
Wicked. For
Wicked.
good. It's the second Wicked.
And I see you got the hoodie on, so
Yeah.
Wicked is-
My
This is-
mom got the hoodies made. She's very into the movie and the characters, so she gets like the hoodies, the dolls, all the merchandise. She has it.
Okay, so you're enjoying your weekend, right?
Yes.
And I'm assuming you, I guess, have work on Monday.
Yes, I do have work on Monday.
So I guess, what do you do for work?
I'm a new attorney. I just passed the bar in September, at the end of September.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I guess, how's it been so far post, passing the bar?
So before passing the bar, I did a couple of internships with juvenile court. And so I'm more comfortable in that setting. However, after passing the bar, they moved me into doing some superior court stuff. So that's working with adults and felonies. And so I find myself being more nervous and not as comfortable with the work that I'm doing. And sometimes I also feel like I'm not doing enough for my clients, or I'm not doing the right thing. Just because I feel like the stakes are so much higher in adult court than they are in juvenile court.
So it's not really, I guess, the demographic of people you serve making you uncomfortable. It's more so that your duty's heavier because it's not with juveniles.
It's more responsibility, yeah.
So I guess, does that cause you like any type of stress? Like,
it's causing me a lot of stress. I remember before starting, I told myself like I wasn't gonna take work home. I was just gonna leave everything at the office, not be stressed when I get home. But recently I found myself bringing like my laptop and files and stuff home just to make sure that I'm prepared for the next day. And so it kind of takes away from the time that I have for myself. So it just feels like it's unending.
Wow. So I definitely think that we need to already, maybe come up with a plan to help you with your, your work-life balance so that you can claim some of your life back. And I want to ask you a few questions just to see, maybe some of these things that you might be able to do during the day as well to, get some of your life back and maybe separate it a little bit more. So do you take a break during the workday? Like lunch at all, anything like that?
So I usually will start lunch at around 12 and close my door, eat my lunch. Sometimes, like if I have time left in that hour, I might take a nap. But other times, if I have something really important the next day, I'll just do like a working lunch. Or if they have different trainings or seminars, I'll do that during my lunch break.
So are these seminars required, or is this extra work you're picking up, or?
They're not required, but I think that there are things that'll be helpful for me to learn in helping my clients.
Exactly, because you take your role seriously. So to try to better serve your clients, because the pressure of kind of their future is heavy on you.
Yeah.
You're trying to still work on your skills, and so it, part of it sounds like, well, not part of it, but it sounds to me right now like I don't want to say you're causing stress on yourself, because I get it. You want to be the best you can be, and you feel like you can give these people potentially a better service than you're giving them right now. But you're also young into it. I feel like you should give yourself grace, because you're still learning. And Kalia, 10 years down the road, working as an attorney, will probably be more experienced, more able to serve than Kalia right now, and you won't get to that person without kind of going through what you're going through right now. So I definitely appreciate, because you definitely sound hardworking in that they're not required seminars, so you're kind of taking on extra work to be able to better serve your client, which is extremely admirable, and serves, shows a certain bit of resilience when you kind of have a lot of pressure, because a lot of people tend to go away or fade away. But even though this your job is kind of causing you stress, you're still trying to meet the challenge of it and exceed it. So do you take time at work, just to get back to the questions, do you take time at work to chat with your coworkers?
I talk more to the admin, like the paralegals and the investigators, than I do the other attorneys, just because they're more light up in admin. So like we'll have conversations about different shows that we're watching and things like that. But when I'm talking to the other attorneys, I'm the only Black person in the office, number one, and I'm the youngest attorney in the office. So a lot of times I feel like they wouldn't be able to understand things that I want to converse about. So it's pretty much just limited to shows that I watch and nothing else. Like I don't talk about my home life. I don't talk about what goes on the weekends, or even how I'm feeling when I get overwhelmed with certain things. When life comes into work and it kind of all gets jumbled up. So we don't have serious personal conversations.
Okay, and that might be another thing that we can add to our plan. And we don't know, I guess, how this necessarily will look, at least not immediately, but maybe trying to find, someone that you can confide in and talk about certain things with at work. Hopefully they, maybe bring in another attorney that matches your demographic, and you guys will have something to relate to, hopefully. But I guess, do you make quiet time to complete tasks?
Do I make quiet time to complete tasks?
Like more so when we're talking about you and your work environment.
So I'll typically have court in the morning, and then after court, maybe like 11, I'll head back to the office, and just the rest of the day, I'll be working on different things throughout the week. So during that time, like they don't want us to close our door completely, but I'll crack my door and put some headphones in and like do some work. So yeah, I feel like that's how I stay focused and get things done in a peaceful, calm setting.
Okay, so you kind of you get the opportunity to do that. Would you say that's, I guess, often you get to do that pretty regularly?
Except for busy weeks. Like this week, I was mostly in court. I had juvenile court on Monday and Wednesday. And then I had superior court on Tuesday and Thursday. So I wasn't really at the office as much. And so with that, it's a lot of like running back and forth, talking to clients, talking to the prosecutors. So I didn't really get much of a break this week. But there are some weeks where I'm just in the office the entire week.
Okay, so do you get to identify projects or tasks that are, rewarding or exciting?
I think that I tend to be a little bit harder on myself. So in the moment after I complete something, it doesn't feel as rewarding, or I'm not as excited about it. But at the office, we have one attorney who's really good about recognizing like the small wins and things like that. So this week, I got a warrant dismissed in magistrate court, and so the attorney that I was talking about, he put it in an email kind of congratulating me for having that kind of small win, and it helped me see that I'm actually like making progress and learning and doing things that are benefiting my clients rather than the way that I've been feeling, which is like I'm not doing enough. So that was helpful, but it's hard for me to see it before they like make it a thing. Yeah.
Do you get to set limits with your clients and colleagues?
I've also been working on that as well. Being a public defender, it's kind of hard because the people who have already been there and who have been doing it for years, they are a little bit more desensitized to it, so it's not as serious to them. So it's easier for them to set boundaries with their clients and say, well, oh, like I'm not getting paid enough to go talk to your probation officer or to go do certain things outside of the scope of representing them in court. But I feel like as the person's attorney, I should be doing more, or I should be taking the extra steps to talk to the probation officers and do everything that I can to get their case resolved. So it's hard figuring out what would be right for my client versus what other attorneys that have been doing it for a while would do to like set that boundary.
Okay. So I guess, do you get to balance your day so that maybe no one part of the day is too much?
I haven't really, like, I don't think I've been doing it long enough to figure out how I should set my, like, split my day up, or have it to where one part of my day is not as busy or not as stressful as the other. It kind of all runs together.
Okay, so is that something you maybe want to work on? Like, is that something you need? Do you not need it?
I think it would be good to not only find like balance between being at home and being at work, but also finding time for peace while I'm at work, or to minimize the stress while I'm at work. I think it'll be beneficial to do that.
Okay, so do you get to arrange your workspace so that it's comfortable and comforting?
Yeah, I mean, physical space, yes, but as far as like the things going on around me or things that I can't control, no. So like my office, I don't really like to have the big light on, so I have a lamp. When it gets cold, like I have a heater, I have a rug. Like I'm able to make it like calming and peaceful physically. And I think it does help me focus, and it does help like minimize the feeling of like, oh, I'm at work and I have to pound in like so many hours, read so many cases, and do all this stuff. It's kind of more relaxing.
Okay, so that's good that, you know, you got to maybe, you know, make kind of your own comfortable niche at work.
Yeah.
Do you get regular supervision or consultation at your job?
Yeah, I would say that I do. There's an open door policy, which is why, like I was saying, they don't really like for us to close the doors. So when I need to speak to one of the senior attorneys, I'm partnering with somebody for juvenile court and somebody for superior court. I can just walk into their office and ask them like any questions I have, and they're really good about answering them and not making me feel like I'm asking too many questions or I'm asking stupid questions.
Okay, so do you get to negotiate for yourself with your employer, like benefits or pay raise? And I get that maybe not because you're newer and more inexperienced, so you don't have that power yet. But
so fortunately, I have a boss who's like really understanding as far as time off. When I was interviewed, he already told me you can't really get much more as far as pay because of the budget that they have as a public defender's office. But he's really open to time off. Like I just recently went to New Orleans, and so he let me know that I don't have to be at work the entire day. I can just go to court in the morning and then drive over to New Orleans. Also, if I'm sick, even though my time off hasn't accrued yet, he lets me take time off and still get paid versus taking the time off and, you know, not receiving anything because I don't have PTO yet. So he's really lenient about that.
okay, it sounds like you're in a relatively good situation. So do you have a peer support group? And again, it sounds like you might not have this because a lot of your peers are older than you.
Yeah. I still talk to some of the people where I interned at. I interned at the Fulton County Juvenile Court, and so I still talk to them. They're all like Black women who are attorneys representing children. So I have access to them. However, being at work all week and not really seeing them or having time to spend with them, I would say that I don't have peer support like at work. Yeah.
But kind of from outside of work as you, or people you've recruited as you went on your journey to
Yeah.
this. Okay. And have you developed an area of professional interest?
Yes. Even though I am working with adults as well, I enjoy doing juvenile court more, just because I feel like there's more treatment and rehabilitation that we can do in juvenile court to prevent them from being recidivists as adults. So I think that is my area of professional interest.
Okay, so now we've kind of went over your work-life balance. I would say overall, you're doing pretty well, and you're getting the ability to do things that other people might not have always had the ability to do. Like, I just worked at a place where, you know, you work 12 hours a day, and most people at best get a 30-minute break, and you're working the other 11 and a half.
Yeah. Which is illegal.
The more you know, huh? Or you know, people that don't have people they feel like they can chat with at work, or you know, get the time to make quiet time to do tasks and stuff. I mean, or a lot of things on this list, but it sounds like, you know, you take, you know, a certain amount of pride in your work, and that, you know, you're obviously interested in getting better at your job, and that you really take a lot of time out of your day to do that. So I guess the question is, how much are you taking to do for yourself kind of outside of work? Like, how much does Kalia get to take care of Kalia?
So I've recently started, well, maybe like a couple of months ago, I've been going to Pilates every Saturday. And so I think that's something that I do more for like my physical health. I also go to the gym throughout the week. as far as like mentally and emotionally, I'm still navigating how to balance being a young adult and also still having like responsibilities, like having to pay different bills and stuff now, or even like the transition of who I am from when I was in law school and like didn't have many responsibilities, didn't have much time to do anything that I wanted to do, versus now that I have the money to do like things that I want to do. I maybe not as much time as I would like, but I'm still like navigating how to deal with myself emotionally and mentally, given all of, like the change from being a law student to being an attorney.
Okay, so do you ever give yourself time for like self-reflection? Like you make time for self-reflection?
I just started journaling again. Well, I'm not gonna say I ever like journaled heavily, but I've been trying to do it like at least every other day. And so I think that I could do that more consistently, maybe like every night, or even bring my journal with me for when like things get stressful, or like I just have a time where my mind is so busy to just write stuff down. I think that'll be like a good thing to have during those moments.
Okay, do you ever get to, well, I was gonna ask you, do you ever write in a journal? So you did, but do you ever get to read literature that's unrelated to work?
I have the time to, but after like reading so much at work,
It's not
I
enough.
get home and I just don't want to look at any other words. I just want to like watch TV or listen to music. So yeah.
So you mentioned going to see Wicked with your mother earlier.
Mhm.
Is maybe watching movies something, you know, because I don't know, do you maybe want to pick up a hobby? Like, do you want to maybe pick up more things to better take care of yourself, you know, explore some self-care options? Or
Mhm.
do you maybe think that there's something else you need? Like, is it a physical thing that you might feel like you want to do more? Or do you maybe need something that can help you basically mentally cope with what you're going through at work sometimes?
I've always been good at kind of like figuring things out myself, like after self-reflection. So I think the journaling would be good for like mental stuff to do, but also to get my mind away from like work, or get my mind away from like overthinking and all the busyness in my head, doing an actual like physical activity. So I do want to find a hobby. I've tried crocheting. I did like a pottery class, but there's nothing that I've done consistently. So I think that that would be something that's beneficial. I also think traveling is something that I want to do. So yeah, there's a lot of hobbies out there that I would like to try and see if I can be more consistent with.
You get to do things like wear clothes you like.
Yeah, now that I can afford it, I can I have a job now that pays pretty well, so like I like being able to style different suits and stuff for work. I like wearing loungewear on the weekends, or like if I'm going out like outside of work. So yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, you know, that's an example of self-care right there, whether you really realize it or not. But you know, the idea of, you know, look good, feel good.
Yeah, I've heard the phrase like look good, feel good, but I never really thought of it as a form of self-care, so it's interesting.
No, yeah, it is. Like, my self-care aspect, it definitely is. So, are you spiritual at all? Are you religious?
I wouldn't say so much as like organized religion, but I do believe in God. I believe in Jesus, but I also believe that there's information in other books like the Quran or the Torah, things from other religions that are beneficial to know and learn. So I wouldn't say that I subscribe to just one religion, but I do believe in God. I have been trying different churches to see if I, you know, like how the pastor is preaching, and if they're more of like an open-minded kind of pastor versus like old school closed-minded pastors. So that's where I'm at with my religion and spirituality.
Do you ever think about spending time with nature?
I like being outdoors, but I do not like bugs. So, and also like if there's, I live near the Silver Comet Trail, and so I could go and walk, but it doesn't feel safe for me to do that by myself at all times. So I don't really go hiking or like go on mini walks. But if I had somebody to do that with, I think I would enjoy doing it more often.
Or maybe something like a run club, since you mentioned that you're into. No?
We
Okay.
can do walking, no running though. A walk or a hike, I'm not running.
Huh, I guess, do people have hiking clubs? I know they do running clubs. They have.
They
hiking
might.
clubs. Might have to connect you to a hiking club
Mhm.
resource and see if they have any hiking groups near the Silver Comet Trail.
Yeah.
It sounds like you are. You open to inspiration?
Open to inspiration.
Yeah, open to inspiration.
I take inspiration from a lot of the things around me, but I do find it hard sometimes taking, like, I wouldn't say advice, but from authority figures. This is like probably a completely different problem that you would counsel for. But I take inspiration from books and the things around me. Sometimes I take inspiration from people, unless it's like something that's like being forced on me, then I'm more closed off to it. It's something that I have to get for myself.
Because what else? What's that? Movies? Is movies something maybe you want to do more?
Like going to the movies?
Yeah, you said you had a good time today with your mom. So.
I enjoy going to the movies. I just went a couple of weeks ago too with one of my best friends to see the Black Phone 2. But normally, like, I wait for movies to come out and just stream them from home. But I definitely enjoy watching movies so much that there's not a lot of movies left for me to watch.
And I gotta make sure I didn't ask you this yet, because they have this on here too. Get massages is on here as a self-care.
So I was getting frequent massages while I was studying for the bar exam, but I stopped like a little bit after taking the bar exam. Why? Because massages are like $200 for a good deep tissue 90-minute massage. So I have to plan it more in my budget in order to keep doing it consistently. But I do enjoy massages.
So, okay, that sounds like something we can basically add to your plan, because, you know, just to make sure I'm tracking everything well, that in general, Kalia's doing pretty good, but Kalia has, you know, like everybody else, it's a normal issue, you know, stress related to, you know, things going on at work. And it sounds like you want to set your boundaries better, more so in your personal life rather than at the office, or because it sounds like you're kind of doing the best you can with that at the moment. But in your personal life, you want to set better boundaries between, you know, Kalia the attorney, public defender, and, you know, who Kalia is outside of work. So what should we do to, I guess, do this? Is there anything you like to do in the afternoon? Like, because I think you mentioned before that sometimes, you know, you go to work and then kind of repeating the cycle, right? Like, you have some time off, but not the most in the world. Like,
yeah, so I usually get off of work at 5 and then get home around 5:30. I've started going to the gym in the evenings rather than in the morning, just because waking up that early is not something that I want to do consistently. So I'll go to the gym Tuesdays and Thursdays at like 7:30. But other days, it's just I go home, take care of my dog, take a shower, and like get in the bed. So it doesn't feel like it's that much time. I could definitely be a little bit more intentional with the things that I do during those hours instead of just like scrolling or
I was about to say, do you watch anything or? But
I've been watching Gossip Girl.
well, yeah, that's good. If you enjoy Gossip Girl, watch Gossip
Yeah.
Girl. You know what I'm saying? Watching Gossip Girl makes you happy. Watch Gossip Girl. Like, watch it more. So again, so the other thing it sounds like is what they call doom scrolling. And you get on social media and you sit there and
Yeah, and after scrolling, it feels like a lot of my time is just gone, because a lot of my time is gone from scrolling, and so it feels like I'm not really getting much of a break after work before I have to go to sleep and go to work the next day.
yeah, because scrolling doesn't really feel like you're doing anything because if you're scrolling the whole time, you never really find any one thing you're fixated on to like give that attention to. So putting down the phone and maybe picking up Gossip Girl, like.
Well, yeah, I think I can do that, or like be more intentional with other things. I did want to get more consistent with learning Spanish, so I could do that instead of scrolling. There's a lot of things I could do instead of scrolling.
Okay, so there we go.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we have hobbies and other things we can do to, shift the work-life balance into, something that's more comfortable for you.
Yeah, and I also think it'll make my break from work feel more, for lack of a better words, gratifying. Like, it'll make me feel better that I'm doing other things rather than scrolling during my time off. Feel more productive, and yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like Kalia's gonna go watch Gossip Girls and watch more movies.
I can watch more movies. I can get more time reading, like books for my leisure. Learn Spanish.
Okay, so just because I might need to make note of this later because we want to make sure we want to keep track of the things that we're going to improve on for our next session, right? So to improve your self-care and some of your time that you get off of work, we're going to watch Gossip Girls / put the phone down from doom scrolling, learn Spanish, planning to read more. And I'm going to match you on that goal because I promise that I feel like I've been saying this for months now that I'm going to go get more books, I'm going to read more. I bought one book and I wasn't impressed with my decision and haven't been back to the bookstore since. But we're gonna work on reading stuff that's not related to work to improve our work-life balance. And yeah, I think you're good. But I think it sounds like what it needs to work on is self-care by doing some of these things, taking time to yourself, and again, separate yourself from work. You gotta have, moments and time to take care of, Kalia, the person. Like, plus that's the best way you could best suit and serve them. I think you'll find that maybe if you take a little more or take a little, pay more attention to your self-care, that one, you'll be showing up for yourself better, and when you get to work, you'll have more strength to, show up for them, and it might also help you with resilience in moments that don't go as well in the future as well. So, yeah, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me and helping me develop these helping skills.
Thank you. Do you need to get your feedback on camera?